Good day, everyone. Welcome to the orientation, the course orientation on theory of errors and adjustment. So in this presentation, I am going to discuss only the course introduction, the course outline, and the course outcomes. And the rest are the overview of this subject. So relax and enjoy this presentation. Okay, let's start. So before I move or proceed to the next slides, I am going to introduce myself first. I forgot to introduce myself on the last presentation on the other subject. Okay, so hi again, my name is Engineer Mari Chuitang. I will be your instructor. If you have clarifications, questions, or anything that you want to ask, so just send an email to this email as posted on the presentation and a contact number if it's impossible to contact me using these emails. Okay, so before we start, I have here a simple quote written by Brother Bo Sanchez. He says, never focus on your problems. Focus on the possibilities. The problems will pull you down. The possibilities will pull you up. So, which is true. So, for example, pag medyo focus ka na wala kang pabiling load, focus ka sa problema mo na wala kang internet, focus ka sa ganyan. So, much better kung mas focus mo yung possibilities. Number one, posibleng pumasa ako this semester, posibleng hindi ako mahulog this semester, posibleng maging engineer ako after 3 years, after 4 years, posibleng ang daming possibilities na pwedeng mangyari. So don't focus on the problems because it won't add up a single hour in your life. So focus on the possibilities. Okay? So we have here an overview of theory of errors and adjustment. We have the course description. So the course encompasses the topics of the probability of occurrence and propagation of the error, the theory of least squares, methods of observation and condition equation for adjustment of linear and nonlinear geodetic models, and a technique for curve fitting. For number one, we have here the propagation of errors. So on the GE 113 or in the general surveying one, we only focus on the systematic error. So the systematic error, which is or a cumulative error, so in which nag-a-apply lang tayo ng correction, for example sa tape, due to temperature, nagsishrink siya, pwede siyang applyan ng correction. So, that is a systematic example of an error. While in here, we go down deep to some of the random errors that needs to be applied with the theory of the least squares. So, much deeper yung adjustment na i-apply natin. Okay? So for the course outline, we have eight major topics in the subjects. We have for the basic concept of matrices. I hope you encounter matrix in your high school. We have sources and classification of error, in which we discuss in your GE 113, the general surveying one, the natural errors. We have the environmental errors, the personal errors. So those are the sources. So for the classification of errors, we have here the mistake, the blunders, the different types of errors. We have the systematic and your random errors. We have here number 3, the law of errors. We have the linear and nonlinear models. We have the principles of least square, MPV, the variance and the covariances, measurement of errors, and propagation of errors. Okay? So for the course outcome, we have here for the chapter 1, so we're going to identify the concept of matrices for this one. So for the sources and classification of errors, we're going to classify different sources and so on. We have here the other outcomes for the other chapters. So we're going to define the principles and application of the least square. and we're compute the MPV, variance, and the covariances. So we are going to discuss each of these as we go through in our topics. So, in this subject, theory of errors and adjustments, so we have three words. We have the theory, the errors, and adjustment. When we say theory, so pag sinabing theory, ito ay principle. So, a set of principles on which the practice of an activity is based. So, for example, kung yung theory is ano yung tinuturo sa inyo mula sa libro. Well, yung practice is ito yung ginagawa nyo sa laboratory exercise in which you applied what you learn on the field. When we say naman error, ito yung nakukuha natin on the field. So, as definition ng error, difference lang siya ng measured value and the true value. So, that is the technical definition of an error. When we say adjustment, so pag sinabi naman na adjustment, so parang siyang small alteration or movement in which magiging desired na siya sa standard. For example, yung measurement natin na 500 meters plus minus 1 meter. So pag yung survey mo, nag-exceed na yung 2 meters yung error, so hindi na siya fit sa standard. So, kailangan natin siya i-adjust para maging fit siya sa nagiging standard natin na plus minus 1 meter. So, that is only an example. So, sobrang laki ng error na 1 meter. Here. Okay, now, how can we say that the survey made was a good or excellent yung survey na ginawa natin? So, example is a combination of a skilled people who perform the survey, and another is the advancement of the mechanical equipment used or applied with included with the utmost judgment ng surveyor. So, it would be perfect. So, kung for example, gagamit tayo ng mas advanced na instrument, tas yung personnel na naman na gumagawa ng survey is trained or experienced na. So, we can say that the observation or the survey made is good. However, no matter how we carefully made the survey or how carefully the observation was made, observations are never exact and will always contain an error. So, just the same, for example, dito sa illustration, meron siyang ilang station, 5. So, pag close niya, pag close niya sa A, so mayroong difference or mayroong error of closure. So, hindi yun nagtugma yung value. So, this is just an example. So, for example, mayroon tayong 500 plus minus a 5 centimeter yung ating standard. For example lang ha. Tapos, yung survey mo is, yung error niya, umabot ka ng 20 centimeter. So, what we are going to do is to apply adjustment sa ating raw data para ma-fit yung ating ginawang survey. Okay. Okay, so yung surveyors whose work must be performed to exacting the standards because we need to meet these standards based on the DNR regulation. So therefore, thoroughly understand the different kinds of errors. Kung ikaw yung GE na perform sa field, dapat alam mo kung ano yung error na na-accumulate mo during the survey. Ano yung sources ng mga errors? Ano yung expected na magnitude? Gano'y kalaki yung mga errors na na-attain mo? Anong underlying varying conditions, anong manner ng propagation, gaano kabilis yung pag-increase ng error based on the number of setup, the number of observation, kung gaano kalaki yung area mo. So, only then, they can select the instrument and procedures necessary to reduce the error. So, para kung alam mo yung error, alam mo rin kung paano ma-reduce dapat yung error. So, for example, gagamit ka ng instrument na, for example, kung gagamit ka lang ng total station, pero 10 hektarya yung area na ika-cover mo. So, pag 10 hektarya, ilang traverse yung survey, gagawin mo, ilang stasyon. So, nag-accumulate yung error. So, much better pag areas more than 10 hectares or more. So, much better kung gagamit ka na lang ng mga most advanced. You can use the RTK instruments or other instruments. So, depende. So, dapat yung GE, alam niya kung anong klaseng error, tapos alam niya kung gaano kalaki yung error na accumulate sa ganitong sitwasyon, so ganitong condition mo, alam mo yung sources, so you can use. For example, using the tape. Alam mo, pagdating mo sa field, alam mo na yung metallic tape, nagsishrink siya pag uh, too high yung temperature. So, why use that tape kung pwede naman total station, may laser naman, may prism. So, don't use a theodolite that needs pa naman a tape measure. So, pwede naman total station na lang gamitin no, para mas ma-reduce yung amount ng error. So, we are going to discuss these errors. We are going to discuss how to adjust these errors, the random errors and the systematic errors as we go through to our discussion proper on this subject. So, for now, this is all. Thank you for, again, thank you for your time. So, I guess, so that will be all for this. So if you have questions, you can contact me in this email address. So for the next presentation, we're going to start the introduction, which is the review of your matrices. So as your assignment, you review your notes on matrix, how to add, this to add, to subtract, multiply, and the rest of the matrix. So good luck and thank you for your time again. See you on the next presentation.